Hi, I'm Allie with PotomacBeads, and this episode of Better Beader is going to help you with your gift giving this season. I'm going to show you some quick and easy tips to help you to maintain and to make quality products to give this season. So my first tip and technique is actually going to be for stretchy string. A lot of you don't have a lot of time to do gifts, and you may actually have a bunch of beads sitting around. You want to give a stretchy bracelet as a gift. So what's the way that you do the actual correct tying method? The stretchy bracelet's super easy to give, super easy to take on and put off, and when you're working with them too, it doesn't really matter as much the wrist size. So I have a bigger stretchy bracelet here, and I wanted to, or a stretchy bracelet that's open here, I wanted to show you how I tie off the end. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my stretchy string is the appropriate size for the beads that I'm using. If you want to use smaller beads, you may need 0.5 millimeter stretch. I try to avoid that at all cost. I usually use 0.8 millimeter, which is going to go through most gemstones and smaller beads, or you can use 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter is thick, but it's the best one to use. I use the largest size of stretchy that I can to accommodate the beads that I'm working with. Here you can see I'm going to put the knot right next to a bead that has a large hole. So I have just simple beads on here. I'm going to tie a square knot right over left, and then to do the left over the right, watch the hands there as they switch which hand is holding which side of the end of the stretchy string. That's going to do a square knot switching from right over left to left over right. I pull that nice and tight, and I'm going to repeat that stretchy string knot here, going in and doing another knot. And then the last thing that I'm going to do, this string is really, really long. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to put the end of the stretchy string back through the bead and see how good I can get that stretchy string to come out the other side. Going right along the bead here. I'm going to pull this back the other side. And once it comes out the other side, the last tip and technique that I'm going to do is having the string through the bigger bead. I'm going to take my super new glue, put a little dab onto the knot of the stretchy string, and then simply use the string that goes through the bead, pull it so that way the knot disappears and dries inside of the bead. That's going to be the easiest and most simple way to do a stretchy bracelet. So the next thing that I want to show, now that we have our stretchy bracelets tied off, is how to make, say you want to make a matching necklace, but you're not sure exactly what length to do the necklace, or you want a bracelet with a clasp on it. If you pick a lobster clasp, you can always add an extender chain. That's going to give your gift-giving person the flexibility to wear it a couple inches longer or shorter, depending on what style they like to wear. You may not know that. So what you're going to need to make sure is that you have a jump ring, and you can open that jump ring. You want to have a thick enough jump ring that it's going to stay closed. I would recommend a 18 gauge, and you can see that it lines up nice and closed. To open it, you're just going to take your needle nose pliers and slide your opening to the side rather than pulling back. That's going to make sure that you have a nice rounded loop and you still maintain that loop. Take that extender chain. This is also great for bracelets that you don't want to lose. You can use it as a safety chain as well. Put the jump ring on and connect it to the end of the actual necklace there to finish off the end of the necklace, adding and using that jump ring. The jump rings can be used for multiple different things. In addition to attaching an extender chain to the necklace, you can also use jump rings to take a simple product like a cute pendant or a cute pair of tassel earrings, open up those ends of those jump rings, slide them onto the actual end of the piece here, and then once you're doing that, you can have a nice, simple handmade gift that's going to hang correctly. You can even do something like the twisted jump rings here, throw them onto these little tassel earrings, and you have cute earrings ready to go. So you, again, open up that jump ring and that split ring there, slide to the side, slide that onto your tassel, close it on up, and now you can add it to different things. So keep in mind, this is kind of how to easily take one thing, make it into something else, or how to attach it just to the findings. You don't have a lot of time, but you can say, I made these. Close up that split ring by taking it back towards where you stopped, and then just grab your pair of ear wires and simply add those on. Again, you may have a pendant that's not hanging correctly. Same thing, use that jump ring and just add them onto there. The next thing I wanted to go over was the simplicity of gluing. So we kind of went over the jump rings, adding the safety chain to make it a different length, tying off the stretchy string. There are so many cute products that you can actually use and do that literally just require a little bit of glue. So we have some of the Potomacs here that I put in, actually in one of the product spotlights on the Loctite glue here. I use these and I wear them all the time. We also have some other findings in here. All you're going to do with that is make sure that you're using the proper glue. I have some Loctite glue here. It's a gel. I'm going to put the gel in towards the center so that way it pushes the actual glue towards the outer edge and I'm not getting a lot of bubbles and kind of bumps around the sides. If I do happen to get kind of a lot of bubbles and bumps, you can either take a beading needle, a reamer, a toothpick, and kind of make sure that you get that out of there. You're going to put your piece in before I push it down, and this is a mood cap. I'm going to spin the piece around. Then I'm going to push it down to make sure that it goes against the product. Again, if I have any glue that happens to come out the top before it dries, I'm going to get that off with my toothpick, with my needle, and make sure to get it off the product prior to that glue actually drying. So there's tons of different options that literally just require a little bit of glue. The last two techniques that I want to go over, because again, these are simple projects, they take a couple seconds, but you want to make sure if you're giving them as a gift that you're doing the techniques correctly. The first thing I wanted to show was how to take any bead, whether or not it's a cute elephant, whether or not it's a faceted banded agate like this, and make it into a pendant. You can do it as a pendant, you can do it as a zipper pull, you can do it as a charm to hang down from a bookmark. How to do that is you're going to use a head pin. Head pins are little straight pins here that have a little head on them, hence head pins. Sometimes the head pins, especially with the bigger beads, will go straight through the bigger bead. The head is actually not big enough to stop the bead. What you can do in that case is use some smaller beads to work as a stopper on the bigger bead. I just have some little crystals here that I'm going to use at the top and the bottom of my larger bead. That will kind of keep it centered as well as keep it on that head pin and add a little bit to the design. When working with these, you want 3 essential tools: round nose, a cutters, and a needle or a flat nose pliers. That is flat on the inside. Take your pliers and leave a little bit of space, just a tiny little bit, above the actual bead. Turn your pliers 90 degrees and grab your round nose pliers. Put those round nose pliers in so you can see both jaws, one on top of the other. Depending on where you hold, that's going to depend on the size loop that you want. If you know what it's going on, you can make that estimate. If you know that you're just going to put it on a chain or give it to the person, you may want to make the loop a little bit bigger, or like I just showed, you can attach a jump ring to a smaller loop. Going in here then, I'm going to take that wire over the top of the round nose pliers till it hits the bead. From there, I'm going to move the pliers from the top jaw and spin them to the bottom jaw. You can also remove the pliers from that top jaw and put it on the bottom jaw. Spinning the pliers also does that same exact thing. Once it's on the bottom jaw of the pliers, take that wire to the back 90 degrees and bring it back to that 90. Switch from your round nose to your needle nose pliers to hold more comfortably. Hold that head going over the head that you just made that loop, and then take the extra wire and coil it around the top. If it's more comfortable, you can grab with 2 pliers, taking the wire and using the pliers to help you coil the little piece of end around. Now you may have an instance where you need to cut down the wire and you have a lot showing, you can do that too, but that's how you're going to do a nice coiled end. Again, if it's giving you a little problem, you can kind of bend it around and squash it down with your needle nose pliers. If it wants to spin, try to get a grip on the bottom of it and kind of flatten it out. The other thing that you can use head pins for is to make ear wires and to make earrings. All you need to make earrings are a couple little beads that are going to look really cute, and you can kind of go from there. Same deal if you have smaller beads or you have something that's going to go through the loop, you may need something little to kind of catch on the bottom and to stop the beads from falling off. So I have just kind of a little container here that I have multiple little beads sitting. I'll take some 4mm rounds and put them on the head pins. The head pins that I'm working with are about a 21 gauge, and I'm going to put on my bigger beads here. You can top it with a bead cap, make it a little bit more decorative. You can top it with another bead. That's kind of up to you how you design it. That's the fun in making gifts and making earrings. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then you want to make sure that your earrings are hanging correctly. Instead of doing a coiled loop, we're just going to do a turned over loop, and we're not going to coil the top of the wire. To do so, we want to make sure both earrings hang correctly. So we're going to take our needle nose pliers again and just kind of turn them back 90 degrees from the actual bead itself, and that wire is doing a 90-degree turn. At the same time, I'm going to pick up the other earring, turning this as well, making sure that my earrings are going to hang the same lengths. From here then, I'm going to switch to those round nose pliers, go back in again with that both jaws showing, the wire coming straight out the back, go over the top of the round nose pliers, switch from the top to the bottom, and do the crossover again. Stick that down, do the same thing on the other pair, or the other set. If you need to make sure that your loops are the same size, you can mark with a permanent marker, magic marker, the loop size so you know that you're getting them the same. After you're done that technique, here's the important part. You want to actually cut off the wire prior to it looping in front of itself. So you see the wire kind of goes in front. We're going to actually cut off with our needle, with our cutters, as close to that loop end. And what that's going to do is actually cut off that extra wire. And that way, you don't have any extra wire going over the head. From there, you can either attach it to your ear wires or just make sure it's nice and closed up. You're doing the same thing when you do a pair of earrings, that you are holding the same pliers at the same amount of time, making sure that you're doing the same techniques. Once you're done with this then, again, you can open up that loop just like I showed how to open a jump ring where you slide to the side rather than pull back, and you can put them onto your set of ear wires. Head pins are wonderful tools to have on and have handy right there when you're working on it. Keep in mind, again, these are simple techniques that you may already know, but they were essential for a lot of gift-giving projects. I've done a couple different lives showing some of these different gift ideas because 'tis the season, but I wanted to show you the proper way to do that stretchy string, to add on a jump ring as well as an extender chain to work with the glue, and then working with the head pins, doing a coiled loop or a plain turned over loop, a non-coiled eye pin. Remember, you can also do this with plain wire, have a spool of wire on hand, you can do lots of repairs, lots of last minute gifts, and they still mean so much because they were homemade. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Better Beader. Remember that you can subscribe to this YouTube channel to get regular updates from us when new videos are made, as well as patterns and designs that we think that you'll like. Keep in mind, you can also give a little thumbs up, but give your suggestions as well in the comments below the video, so that way you can help to build other suggestions and other tools and techniques onto people's already awesome skills. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you need any materials, remember you can shop with us online at PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu.